Hey, what's up? Welcome to season 2 of The Reflection Show. I'm so excited that you're tuning in. Listen, before the show even begins, I want you to like, comment, and subscribe. Like, comment, and subscribe. Make sure you click that button below. There are some awesome stories this season 2 that I'm bringing to your living room, to your cell phone, to your iPad. Hey, it might even be your friend's phone. But I want you to like, comment, and subscribe and get ready to be impacted, influenced, and inspired with these unscripted stories right here on The Reflection Show. I'm your host, Ramsey Rizard. And remember, your experience matters. Let's get into the show. Welcome to The Reflection Show. My name is Ramsey Rizard. You never go to the mirror scripted. You always go unscripted. And I'm telling you, today I have a story for you that's going to impact, influence, and inspire you. This woman here, she has been through so much. She's been through adversity, opposition, but she managed to find her way to make it back to the future and to change those very decisions that she felt as though she needed to change in order for her to be the woman that she is today. It is the one and only Lashaun!
Oh man,
what's up, Lashaun?
That was great. That was great, man. I need you to like walk around with me and just like say stuff when I go places.
You know, every time I interview people, they say, "Yo, your introduction just shuts it down. It takes away my nervousness. It just makes me feel like I am ready for this moment."
Oh yeah.
So how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for the opportunity. It is great to be here with you. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you for being in the chair today and getting ready to share your story. I mean, you've been through so much. I mean, changing diapers just to make sure that your children were taken care of, just facing a lot of adversity, not growing up in a house where the things that you know today were given to you as a young child, and then also starting a company in the middle of a pandemic. Like, who does that? Where does this story begin for Lashaun?
So, you know, you mentioned growing up in a household, right, where, you know, there's things that we just didn't learn, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, my father is Antiguan, so he was born and raised in Antigua. And my mother is Puerto Rican.
Right.
The family's from Puerto Rico, but, you know, they were, they're the New York Puerto Ricans.
Boricua,
right?
Morena, Dominicana.
So, you know, with that type of dynamic, there was a lot of different things that, you know, they didn't learn growing up. So when it came to, you know, myself, there was just certain things that, you know, my parents couldn't teach me.
Right.
And because they just didn't know. And it's okay, right? You know, because you take away bits and pieces of what they can teach you, and you take that and you apply it to, you know, your life as you're continuing to grow. And, you know, they obviously did the best that they could, and they were amazing. They were great, right?
Yeah.
You know, my father has since passed, but my mother, you know, is still here, and she always drops words of wisdom that continue to keep me motivated. And a lot of times she doesn't even realize that she's doing that.
Wow.
You know, so that's kind of where it began, right? You know, as I was going through school, I always was in that entrepreneur mindset. You know, I'm selling candy in school.
Come on.
Right?
Now, if you didn't sell candy in school, you didn't even start the entrepreneurship career yet.
Exactly. You know, selling candy bars, you know, whatever it is that you can sell. And, you know, at that time, you're not thinking of it, you know, like you would think about it as an adult. Right. You know, it's just like, oh, man, I can make some money doing this. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
Now, if you were like me, I used to eat all them candies and hope that $20 would show up.
No. I was holding on to that money. I might have had a spreadsheet somewhere that I put in this stuff. But like, you know, I always had like a good head on my shoulders as far as, you know, kind of, I knew that I wanted to do something, right? So I got a full ride scholarship to go to Old Dominion University. I was going as a pre-med major, right? Biochem was my major. And I had interned at Eastern Virginia Medical School when I was in high school. So I was actually working on bodies, right? And got a full ride scholarship to go to ODU. So I get to ODU, and I'm on my scholarship, got my meal plan, you know, eating everywhere.
You got
free,
everything
right?
set up.
Got everything, right? Friends coming over because I couldn't eat that much food, so they eating off my meal plan.
Right.
So we have all these things, you know, going on, and then I get pregnant. Right? I get pregnant right before my 2-year mark. All right. Now, the father of my son, great guy, we've known each other since middle school. Right? So, you know, it's one of those things, right? But at that moment in time, I then realized that how am I going to do this? How am I going to go to school, and how am I going to take care of, you know, my son? I don't know how I'm going to do this.
So life called an audible on you.
Life called an audible. And at that moment, I had to leave school because I didn't have, at that age, you don't necessarily have the support that you would have when you're much older, right? You know, my parents weren't able to help me in that manner. And, you know, my son's father and I were young, right? So I left school. I left the scholarship. I left everything because I had to make sure that I wasn't going to be considered a statistic and not be able to accomplish goals that, while they weren't as solid as they are now, I knew that there was more that I needed to do.
So would you say that that's the moment where you felt like there was a target on your back?
Oh, yeah.
Like as far as being successful and striving as a single mother, trying to do the best that you can to raise your son?
Oh, yeah. Because at that moment where you kind of have things lined out, right? It's like, oh, I'm going to go to school, you know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. That just comes to a halt because it doesn't happen that way anymore. And now it's more into survival mode. It's like, okay, I have to make sure that you got food. I have to make sure that we got a roof over our head. I have to make sure that all these things are happening. How am I going to do that? So I worked temp agencies. I mean, you name it.
You hustled.
I was hustling. I did any and everything to make sure, probably shouldn't say any and everything.
Right.
But scratch that. But I did things to make sure that, you know, I was able to provide, because now I am the one that this young person is looking up to, and they don't even know.
But I love that, Lashaun, because, you know, that season of your life, surviving taught you how to survive today. Like it built you. You didn't even realize. And I think sometimes we get caught up in our struggling seasons and we're not stopping to say, okay, what is this season teaching us? How can we learn from this season that's going to cultivate and prepare us for the next season of our lives when we awaken to that thought of we can do better?
Correct. Yeah. I learned that no didn't mean no at that moment. It meant like next opportunity. Right? It didn't mean no.
Wait, say that again.
No didn't mean no. It meant next opportunity. It meant that just because you said that word to me, I had to look at it like, you're not really telling me no. I just need to figure out what my next opportunity is going to be, because I still have to get to whatever this goal is.
Yes.
Right? You don't just stop. You're going to hear a lot more no's than you're going to hear yeses.
So how did you discover your goal? Like, how did that goal lead you to the Lashaun that's sitting in this chair today?
So at that time, I started to, I knew that I wanted more, right? I knew that I wanted to be able to be in a position to where I could take care of my family and teach, you know, you know, at the time it was just my son, but to be able to teach him something so that way he didn't have to work as hard. Because I had also started doing, I started promoting MC battle shows at that time. I was managing a restaurant. So I was working 60, 70 plus hours a week. There was times that I had him in the restaurant.
Girl, I don't even call that survival mode. I call that the grind.
Oh, I was grinding.
Like you was grinding.
Oh yeah, I was absolutely grinding. Like sleep, and it's funny now because I have friends now. They're like, "Do you sleep?" And it's like they're like, "I don't even know what you run on." I've always ran on. You know, it's just God, it's faith. You know what I mean? It's hey, there's things that need to happen. Who else is going to make them happen? You know, but you. And when you start going in that path and other people start to see, and you're a good person, and you do the right thing, then people are going to want to be like, okay, what are you doing? How can I help? You know, how can I help you get there, right? So, you know, along the way, I had pockets of people that would drop in and they would help, right? And not everybody stayed, right? Because some people come in for that moment, right? But, you know, it's okay because they recognize, okay, she needs this right now. There's times where maybe I couldn't take my son to the restaurant. And I'll have someone step up, just bring him here. That's help. That's support.
But that's interesting because now you are, Lashaun, the Airbnb investor, the first generation franchise owner of the Hot Dog Factory out in South Jersey. I mean, you have taken upon so much in today that now you can almost sense that you're graced for this journey that you're in now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's sometimes I'm thankful for people I surround myself with, because at times they have to make me stop for a minute and just kind of say, look at what has happened along this time, because you don't want to forget that. You don't want to just be go, 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 and you forget kind of how you got there, not from a superficial standpoint, but just from the fact that you're in grind mode.
True.
Right? So I'm thankful that I have people that surround me that sit down and say, stop for a minute.
Yeah.
Look at the things that you've accomplished. Look at what you've done, because then that lends to being able to tell those stories,
right?
And take that time to stop and tell other people, that you too can accomplish this. Don't ever let anything get in your way and think that's over and that's done.
And that's what I love, that the fact that you went back to the future to change your future. Like, what you didn't learn at home, you've taken your adversities and you flipped it by making the right decision to become the woman that's sitting in this chair today. So when you so let's go into this whole franchise thing, because it's not every day that you hear that a black woman is jumping into the franchise world to see how could she own something and build on top of it and leave it for her children. What was that like for you? Like, what even led you to start this company in the middle of the freaking pandemic?
Because I'm crazy. I'm not wrapped too tight.
Let's say it together. 1, 2, 3. Because I'm crazy.
I'm not wrapped too tight. So with managing restaurants, I had a love of food, right?
Okay.
And I manage a multitude of different, it was a chain that I had managed for many years. And I loved it, right? I loved kind of, the atmosphere and just the day-to-day, not knowing what's going to happen and so forth. So I had met a franchise owner for the hot dog factory in Philly. And we began just talking about it, because I had been looking to want to get into franchises for quite some time. However, a lot of franchises that you're looking into, one, they try to make it almost impossible for you to have the capital that is necessary to even get in it, right? Is number one. And then number two, culture was huge to me. Like, I didn't want to be associated with something that didn't follow my beliefs and, what I believed in personally.
Your core values.
My core values,
yes.
Right? So when it came to this particular franchise, and I was, talking to that franchise owner, and, he began to kind of give me the rundown of it. And then, we set up a meeting for me to meet Dennis McKinley, who owns, the original hot dog factory. I love the fact that it is, for one, it is people of color, right? All franchise owners are people of color.
Wow. Say it again. All
franchise owners are people of color, okay? I love the fact that he loved and supported wanting to bring women in, because that's huge, right? Yeah. Men and women operate in business different, right? Society, kind of put some pressure on that a little bit, right? Yeah. Maybe even mindsets, different things like that. So it's important that when you have someone that looks at a woman and brings them in and says, hey, I want you to be a part of what we have going on, that's huge. Yeah. Because there's that support behind that is major. And from that moment, I said, you know what? This is the franchise that I want to be a part of.
I like what you said, Del. It was based off your core values and the opportunities as a woman to create a new niche in an industry that would not only allow you to grow and develop what you saw, but it also led you to understand that it was surrounded around family.
Yes.
Commodity and community.
Yes.
And it allowed you to become what you're doing now in South Jersey, and you're allowing your kids, your son to be able to manage and learn this type of business. I mean, I applaud you for that.
Yeah.
That's not easy.
No, it's not. The day that we opened December 5th, right? December 5th, middle of a pandemic, the winter, right? Yeah. So we opened this business. My son turned 21 on that day. That was his birthday. 21. He turned 21 on that day.
High five.
So while, other 21-year-olds, are running around and, getting drunk and, whatever, he literally was there helping to open this restaurant. There's things that he's going to learn that school's not going to be able to teach you, right? And, I've seen such a growth in him from that time until now. Yeah. But being able to provide something that my family can, because my daughter works there too. Right now, she quits every other week. Right, so we got to keep rehiring her.
The hustle ain't real.
This is real stuff
This is
that
real
happens,
stuff.
okay? So people say their kids work there. Sometimes they go kicking and screaming in there, all right? But, you know, so, but she learns things as well. And some of the things that she learned, she's probably not even going to realize that she learned them until she needs to apply it later. And then it's like, oh, that's where I get that from.
That's true.
Right? So I enjoy being able to say I have something that I can teach my children, my family, leave behind, you know, something, because generational wealth is not something that I've learned. You know, I got a crash course in it. I'm on the job training.
That's true.
Right, with it, but it's not something that we sat at the table. We didn't even sit at the table.
Yeah.
But it's not something that we talked about growing up, because that wasn't anything that, you know, my parents knew to do. And, you know, even to this day, you know, I still, like I said, I take nuggets of things from my mom that she speaks of. Yeah. But the beauty in it is she takes nuggets of things from me. And she sits back and, you know, even at her age, she's about to be 70. And she's like, oh man, like I got to do this in my life, and I got to get this together, and I got to get that together. And it's so great hearing her at that age even saying that, because for her, she's like, I got so much life left.
It's amazing, because I truly believe that we are all born to be a sacrifice for the next generation. You know, and you're showing it here today, sitting down, just sharing your story, because now your children will understand that your one decision is what's going to allow their future to have the freedom that they've been always in need of. You know, they're going to be able to show their children, and their children are going to be able to show their all because of your decision. And that's powerful. So I know earlier we were talking about your dad behind the scene and stuff like that. If your father was alive, what do you think he would tell you today?
Oh man. So I'm gonna tell you what he told me first when I got pregnant, and then I'm gonna tell you what I think he would say now. When I got pregnant, my dad said, "You're not gonna be anything," because he was upset.
How did that make you feel?
That was like, wow, man, you're my dad. Like, you're supposed to be rah-rah for me. You're supposed to be like, okay, we got this. But, you know, his disappointment allowed him to be able to be in a space that says, you're not going to do nothing. Right? You're not going to accomplish nothing. Look at what you did. You just got pregnant. Like, come on now. You know, so that is what he said, right, at the time. Throughout the years, obviously, you know, he kind of embraced, you know, it all. And, you know, my son was his ride or die. You know what I mean? He really came to terms with that. Now, if he was alive, he would tell me he was really proud of me. Because my dad has always been proud of things, but just be in the way that he was kind of brought up. You know, the vision of where women lie is a little bit different. You know, it's more so like, you know, the man of the house, you know, you kind of play the traditional role. And to him, I was always like that rebel. He and I are alike. We
always
are
going
so
head
much
on.
like going head to head, going head to head, right? And, you know, and that was our relationship. But he was my guy. You know what I mean? I knew if I really, really needed something, he was there. But at that time when he said that, I think that even motivated me even more. Because it's like, oh no, that's not going to happen. Now he would sit back, he'd be like, you know what, I'm proud of you. Because yes, you are my rebel. You are the one that goes toe to toe with me. But he respected that. Because he knew that I was going to be okay.
And that's good, because I'm proud of you.
Oh,
you know, because this journey is not easy. Being an entrepreneur, being a visionary, you know, being a business person, all those are three different entities all in one. You have to learn different facets of your life, your past, your present, and your future. And if you don't learn how to acknowledge your past, and if you don't know how to change your present, then your future is going to be very difficult for you to embrace. But you've done something that the common woman would not do, is to look at their adversity in a positive outlook and say, what am I going to do to change my future in those words that were spoken over my life for the better of my children? And you're doing it. You are the first generation franchise owner of the original hot dog factory. Think about that. Airbnb investor. And you're getting into many more things that people haven't even witnessed yet. All at this beautiful age of 42. A black woman, a military child, bringing jobs into the South Jersey area. 4 employees that you're giving jobs to, and started this company during the pandemic. Girl, I am so proud of you.
Thank you.
There is somebody, Lashaun, as we close the show, who is sitting at home or on their phone, or maybe stuck in a season where they are in need of some type of word of encouragement. What words of reflection could you share with that very young Lashaun, that young girl, that businesswoman? What words of reflection could you share with them looking in that very mirror right there?
What I would say is that you need to know that you are enough. You don't need other people's validation in order to convince you that what you're doing, especially in that time, is what it is that you should be doing. Every situation, every opportunity, every disappointment, anything that you're experiencing, that you're facing, it's just all part of the process. It's all part of being able to ultimately get to where it is that you need to be. And you have to be able to go through those things in order to really fulfill who it is that, God has designed for you to be. When you realize the path that God is putting you on, and you follow that path and you listen and you move, because that's the key, you got to move. When you move, then all of the things that you know about yourself, you're going to really begin to realize the impact that not only do you have on yourself, but you also have on other people. So just remember, you don't need anybody to validate you. You are absolutely enough. You are all that you need in order for you to be able to accomplish, the path that you're set out and you should be accomplishing.
You are enough. You heard it here from Lashaun, a first-generation franchise owner, Airbnb investor, visionary, businesswoman, entrepreneur, mother, friend, best friend, auntie. She's been through a lot. She had to go back to the future to change her future. And today her story, I pray, causes you to think about your future. Where are you in this season? What are you willing to do to change the legacy of your family and the direction of the future of your children? Or maybe your friends. If you don't know, now you know that you are enough. Pick up the mantle, go forward, and be great. This is Ramsey Rizard on The Reflection Show. And remember, your experience matters. Thank you so much for watching. You enjoyed that interview, didn't you? Well, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, share, and click on that notification. And remember, your experience matters.